Here in Tashkent, I was joined by Bulgaria's President Rumen Radев, and speaking diplomatically, we talked about the EU strategy and sanctions on Russia.
First of all, we should realize and recognize what is the result of the sanctions. Who is the winner from these sanctions? I believe that the biggest winner is China. Why? Because China enjoys cheap Russian energy resources. China enjoys Russian military technology. We withdrew our companies from Russia and opened the big Russian market to Chinese companies. So China benefits from these sanctions. And the sanctions linked Russia and China closely.
The problem that I think a lot of people with your position, how do you end up with a ceasefire or a peaceful solution that doesn't reward the initial aggression of Russia?
This is extremely difficult political and moral dilemma we are approaching, because we need to understand the nature of this war. The Americans say this is boots on the ground warfare. This is a fight for every inch of territory. And the most important asset in this war is not the weapons, it is the people. But we are approaching the moment when Ukraine could run out of people to defend itself. On the other hand, do you think that Russia is going to step back from Crimea and other regions? We have two options. The first one is to reconcile with the fact that in the 21st century someone can grab territories by force, and to forget about our values, to forget about international law, to forget about UN Charter. Are we going to agree with this? Then what should we do? To send troops, NATO forces, to defend Ukraine and to push the Russians back to the borders of 1991? What does it mean? Third World War with maybe devastating nuclear consequences. This is the biggest dilemma. That's why I strongly support the efforts of the new US administration to initiate peace process between Russia and Ukraine.
You're a former military man, so you do not want to fight.
I want to avoid fighting.
Exactly.
Yes,
one thing
exactly.
I've always known about the military,
yeah.
The last thing you want to do is fight. But in this case, to come to a solution that is a just and peaceful solution.
I believe that we have three instruments to influence the peace process: military, economic, sanctions, and diplomacy. We have not harnessed the full potential of diplomacy yet. That's why, again, I strongly support the efforts of President Trump. I believe he is a pragmatic, very pragmatic business person who hates devastation brought by any war. And my, disappointment is that he still does not find enough support within the EU for his peace efforts. Because, yes, he's pragmatic, he's realistic, but some European leaders refuse to recognize the realities on the battlefield. And this is a huge problem.
Bulgaria is on track to become the latest and newest member of the Eurozone. It's been approved for full membership, having met the criteria. It could argue, some say, will boost economic stability and growth. It's a debate that's been going in Bulgaria for some years. Others say higher prices and loss of independence. And indeed, if you look at the polls, they do seem to be split on whether Bulgaria should actually join in January. The president of the country believes there should be a referendum. And I asked him why.
This is a result of, so to say, conservative financial policy throughout the years of hard work and sacrifice. All this is paid by the Bulgarian people. We expect to bring benefits to our economy, but there is no consensus in our society, not about the euro, but are we ready to accept the euro in 2026?
Well,
this is the
You've been at
question.
it for years. I mean, it's not like it's suddenly come round the corner. Surely the time for a referendum would have been earlier.
Yes, but everything is so dynamic. Everything changes, even in the European Union. Why did UK left the European Union at all? And in 18 countries out of 27 today, they held a referendum for joining EU with this binding agreement to introduce the single currency.
So are you saying you still wish a referendum between now and the date upon which of joining?
Perhaps I'm old-fashioned, but I strongly believe in democracy. You see, some leaders, they believe in technocracy. Some other leaders believe in economy as a driving engine. But without democracy, if there is no democracy, the entire social construct is doomed. That's why I initiated a referendum on our readiness to join the Eurozone in 2026.
Does a constitutional crisis exist in Bulgaria between a PM who says we're going in and an elected president who says not so fast, only after a referendum?
No. There is and there will be no constitutional crisis. In fact, it is about the trust in the institutions, because for the last 4 years, can you imagine, we held 7 parliamentary elections and we witnessed a decline of the trust in our institutions. And the referendum can bring back the trust in the Bulgarian government.
So much of European countries' trade relations is dealt with at the EU level. But I'm guessing you're trying to build some form of bilateral relationship, not just with Uzbekistan, but around this whole region.
The Central Asian countries are of growing importance for the European Union. Bulgaria provides the most important part, the connectivity. There is a huge room for bilateral relations, for trade, for exchange in various areas. However, we need the connectivity, transport, energy, digital. Without this connectivity, we are pretty limited. And can you imagine, Bulgaria is on the west coast of the Black Sea. And also you should know that the world's second busiest land border cross point is between Bulgaria and Turkey. We provide European strategic entry point to this region. And this is Central Asia, this is China on the other side as well.